Come all of you good workers, good news to you I'll tell of how the good old Union has come in here to dwell.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Hey up internet, and welcome back to On the Sofa Live. If you're new, do subscribe and hit the bell icon to stay in the loop. This is from Novara Media. Burnham's new economics advisor oversaw illegal sacking of staff member. Andy Haldane fought against employees trying to unionize at the Royal Society of Arts by Simon Childs. Andy Burnham's new economics advisor oversaw an illegal sacking and an incident where police were called on his own staff, according to a trade union. The Independent Workers of Great Britain, IWGB, union, said Andy Haldane should not be anywhere near a government that claims to stand for working people. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree with that. Last week, it was reported that Burnham was receiving advice from some top economists ahead of his Labour leadership run, including Haldane, a former Bank of England chief economist. Haldane was the chief executive of the Royal Society of Arts from 2021 to 2025, where he oversaw a period of unrest with staff taking strike action for the first time in the charity's 270-year history after management refused to recognise their trade union. Burnham's appointment of the new economic advisors is seen as an attempt to bolster his fiscal credibility. However, Haldane's former staff have expressed concerns that his inclusion points in the opposite direction of a leadership that can bring people together. A statement from the IWGB Charity Workers Branch, seen by Novara Media, said, "At a time when millions feel excluded from political decision-making, the country needs leaders who can listen, build trust, and bring people together. Andy Haldane's record points in the opposite direction. It reflects a style of leadership that concentrates power, disregards collective voices, and deepens division rather than overcoming it." As Andy Burnham puts together a team to run this country, he must ask himself whether Haldane is someone who belongs anywhere near power in a government that claims to stand for working people. As chief economist at the Bank of England, Haldane argued that declining union membership and divide and rule tactics had left workers less able to bargain for fair pay. As CEO of the RSA, he employed precisely those tactics against his own staff. Yeah, it's not a good look, is it? On one occasion, the RSA even phoned the Met Police on its own employees as they protested peacefully outside the building. The union said, adding, "Industrial relations improved significantly at the RSA after Haldane's retirement and departure from the organisation in 2025. This guy sounds lovely. What a really nice individual he sounds.
Oh, by the way, I was being sarcastic.
Kirby Fullerton, former Senior Fellowship Development Manager at the RSA and a union rep, told Novara Media when Haldane joined the RSA, He immediately escalated things and took a combative, patronizing attitude towards our efforts to unionize. He dug his heels in and refused to engage in meaningful dialogue with his workforce. I often referred to him as the Wizard of Oz, using his credentials and clout to say all the right things publicly. But behind closed doors, it was a very different story. Or behind the curtain, perhaps. The level of intimidation and anti-union sentiment I felt from Haldane and his management team made me genuinely fearful of losing my job, despite trade union protections. I was not alone in this. RSA workers, their mental health and wages suffered under his leadership. That was the culture he, as chief executive, was responsible for setting. If Labour wants to signal change and build trust, Haldane has no place in this government. In 2023, an employment tribunal found that RSA had broken the law by unfairly dismissing Ruth Hannon, head of policy and participation, for speaking out of the way the staff were treated. The RSA said it was disappointed and surprised by the decision, adding the IWGB continues to use this case as an example of RSA wrongdoing, which we feel to be vexatious and unjust. Hannon told Novara Media, after my experience of both campaigning for RSA staff to unionize and to be sacked as a result, it was clear to me that what Andy Haldane says in public is not what he exacts in practice. Andy Burnham strikes me as a man with strong values. This is not how I would describe Andy Haldane after my experience. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's not a good look, and it doesn't bode well for Andy Burnham's future leadership of the Labour Party and also as Prime Minister. It doesn't bode well at all, in my opinion. It's not a good look. It's not a good look at all. It just isn't good. The optics are terrible. In December 2023, RSA hosted an event by UKIB, the UK Israeli Chamber of Commerce, which included a video call from Israel's President Isaac Herzog, who has been accused by a UN Commission of Inquiry of inciting genocide. Some staff walked out during their lunch break to join a demonstration against the event. Yeah, this gets worse and worse. It felt clear to staff that under Haldane's leadership, dissent of any kind was something to be managed and suppressed, not engaged with or taken on board. Staff who walked out of the building in protest were singled out for one-on-ones and reported feeling intimidated by him, the IWGB said. In 2023, staff at the RSA took strike action for the first time in the charity's history. Many RSA fellows voiced their concern, and some left the organization. Public figures including Yanis Varoufakis, George Monbiot, and Chris Packham withdrew from events in solidarity with striking staff. The dispute was all the more controversial given the RSA's progressive aims. Its website says, "We've never stopped asking how we can build a world that works better for everyone." The staff eventually won statutory recognition for the IWGB with the backing of 85% of the workers involved. Andy Haldane has been approached for comment. This is certainly not a good look. It's not a good look at all. Andy Burnham taking on Andy Haldane as an advisor. It doesn't look good, and it doesn't bode well for his leadership. It doesn't bode well if he becomes Prime Minister. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you've made it this far, thanks for watching. And please do me a favor and like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and do leave a comment because that would really help me out with the algorithm. Okay, bye for now.
From all of you good workers, good news to you I'll tell of how the good old Union has come in here to dwell.
Which side are you on? Which side are you